over on YouTube where we have way more fun. So see you there right now. Pop over and ask your questions. Bye. Hello. So welcome to this YouTube Live. Sorry about the delay. I was just finishing up a message on Instagram. I hope that you are excited about this transmission. Today, we're going to be channeling Vagrein and interacting with them. And I want you right now to pop your questions into the chat so I know, and so Vagrein knows what it is most dear to your heart, what it is most pressing in terms of questions. And of course, they are also going to be transmitting on current energies that are coming through, transmitting on current events that are coming through, etc. I didn't draw a tarot card today. I'm not a tarot person normally. I enjoy tarot for myself in terms of looking into what is going on in my field, is going on in the collective field. And I absolutely, can I increase my audio visuals, Steve? No? Okay. How is the sound okay? Is everybody hearing everything okay? I hope so. And Joanne asks how not to tea. Joanne, what are you talking about? How not to tea? What would that mean? I can only speculate on what that might mean to you and what you actually want to ask. So how not to react to negative interactions. Oh, this is a great topic because I currently had an experience on a personal level with this, and it was fun. It was a fun interaction. So why don't we start there as we're waiting for people to come in? Yesterday, I had an experience where I was in a state of misunderstanding communication-wise, and it arranged for the circumstances to be that I arrived earlier than the person I was meeting to the location I was meeting them. We communicated earlier in the day saying, okay, let's meet at this certain time in this certain location. And from the communication and just the differences in communication, I thought that that was a concrete plan. So I'm a 90s kid. And when I say I'll be somewhere that I'm going to be, I turn up. I arrive in that place on time, and I'm ready to go, because I'm not one of these people who sort of like adjourns, is that a word? Adjourns my plans as I go along. Like I won't text someone again and go like, hey, well, what time are we actually meeting? I just assume that that is the meeting time. Whereas this person's communication style and their relationship with time is different, and everyone has a different relationship with time. And for them, a time that they're arranging is tentative, more so than permanent, because then they would then confirm that time later on in the day. So because of this difference in relationship with time, what happened was this particular miscommunication or this misunderstanding had happened a few times. And it was, I'll allow anything a few times before I will make conclusions about the way the situation is going and adjust myself accordingly. I never really ask anyone else to adjust themselves, but I do communicate very clearly what my boundaries are. So I was annoyed. I had annoyance, and that was reacting to circumstances. Hi, Ale. Hi, Jason. Lovely to see you guys. So I was annoyed, which in theory is a reaction. So Joanne, that is a reaction to the circumstance. But what was missing there was the action. So more so than a reaction, it was a response. I felt the annoyance come up, and I had that pause period to be able to decide how I was going to react to that. So what happened was I did express that I was annoyed and that this wasn't something that I was going to continue experiencing moving forwards in terms of this level of miscommunication. And I sat with it. I arranged the rest of my moment. I had about an hour to kill before this person was going to come up or arrive, and really just dove into, well, what am I feeling? What am I wanting? And how do I want to respond and react to this? So we don't actually have to react to anything. I will allow Vagrein to address this as well, because they'll have a lot more wisdom than I do. But what I have learned from them is that nothing actually requires any reaction at all. And reaction often comes from a space of feeling disempowered. It comes from a space of feeling like there's some sort of urgency towards resolving something that is not of our preference. Hi, Carlos. Welcome. And so, um, if you're not so attached to your preference, you have a lot more space to not react to things. And if you have faith that things are going to work themselves out, then you don't actually need to force anything, try to control anything, even get upset really about something. You can be aware of your experience, but you don't necessarily need to act out on it or act about it. And then when the person did show up, I explained that my time is precious and valuable. And without reacting or being in anger or blame or shaming them or asking them to change, what ended up happening was the conversation was beautiful in that there was the ability to find the resolution and understand the differences in our experience of what time is and what communication is, and come up with a solution together to how to move forward and how to ensure that my preference is to not waste time and to not be waiting on someone, and their preference, which is to have that flexibility in terms of finding out clarity later on in the interaction, can be honored. So both people can win. Even though there was this little hiccup, both people can get what they want without having to go into a space of using the emotional charge as a motor for the resolution for the conflict. Now, we know that emotional charge often isn't the most serving or useful energy for resolution of interaction and conflict with other selves. We know this, and yet we jump into resolution and we jump into getting angry or pleading or feeling badly, etc., when ultimately the emotion is not there for you to act upon. It is there for you to gather information. So on my end, the information that I was gathering was, I don't want to wait ever for anyone. And my options are to not see this person again, of course. My options are also to be more clear. Or, for example, one of my less aligned thoughts was, well, from now on, I'll just show up an hour late. Now, that's not really useful, is it? Because the truth is that you're interacting with someone that is trying to get to know you, or you're trying to get to know them. You're trying to understand where you can meet, where you can bridge your relationship and experience with them. And sort of defaulting to well, I'll show them, or well, I'll just organize myself without this communication isn't the best option either. So,
hey, can you?
Oh, sorry about that. My phone is doing something weird. Okay. So that wasn't useful, but the communication, the conversation was, and it was only possible because I wasn't in that reactive state. So response is the key to responsibility. It means you taking responsibility through your responding to a situation or circumstance and having that sense of sovereignty and knowing that you can handle it. You can handle it. You don't need to react. You can respond as opposed to reacting. And I know that this is one of those things that people always come up with. But yes, Joanne, we will ask Vagrein about that. Does anyone else want to pop some questions into the chat while we're waiting for the rest of everyone to turn up? And therefore, Vagrein will have a few more things to respond to. And we'll have a really great session. So this is the moment to do it, because now I can read it, and then Vagrein will store it somewhere in the back of my brain. They'll probably address it. I see Steve's question. Can you increase your ability to manifest your reality through conscious focus? Great. I like that question too. That is one of the classic questions that is related to the law of attraction, law of assumption, and all of those awesome playing with reality manifestation jive that we are always hearing about in spiritual circles. And so I love that that's coming up as well. I also know that we're in an interesting period. We're sort of halfway. Is it halfway through the year? February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, we're halfway through this year. And this year has been, wow. Leave me a message in the comments right now to tell me how insane this year has been for you. Because for me, it has been about the most insane shifts. But then you know what? The truth is the past like 7 years have been about the most insane shifts. But I still feel like January 1st was one of these days where everything kind of went into hyper acceleration. And I think that's kind of where we all are and what we're all feeling. It's really a powerful time. So we're halfway through this year, and it's amazing to see that. Shashank, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, asks, is the Earth currently experiencing a timeline split where some souls move into higher frequency realities while others stay in lower ones? What determines which path the soul aligns with? Can we still shift? Yes, that is exactly what's going on. Hillbilly Herb asks, been noticing a ton of extra paranormal energy over the last couple of weeks. Not sure if we were building to something, but it's intense. I love these questions. These are the best questions ever. I'm so excited because they are relevant. I'm feeling all of this as well. And there really is quite a lot going on. So we will go into channeling in just a moment. I want to mention to you guys that while there's not much on the calendar coming up in the next couple months, because I still haven't sorted out the calendar for August, September, October, November, and December, what is coming up, which is amazing and fundamental, is the August 2nd event, which is a live in-person event in London, England. Now, I know not all of you can get to London, England. Not all of you want to even get to London, England, because the energies there are quite intense. Intense is fun. Intense is challenging. Intense is growth-provoking. So I'll be there for that growth, for that fun, for those challenges, for those invitations. And if you're up for that, then I am inviting you to come and join me August 2nd in London as well for a intensive day event. And we will then be having some social time together, getting to know each other better on a personal level. And I'm always so thrilled for these sessions where I get to meet you in person. I haven't done one since, I think, May, since the retreat in May. And that event will be live streamed. So instead of doing my classic event here, well, not here, on Zoom, where I take questions and answers with Vagrein for you, for August, what I've decided to do is live stream that London event because it's going to be so powerful. And the topic of it is how to manage the insanity, the comedy of these shifts that we were just talking about when Shashank mentioned, are we in that timeline split and how can we shift and in what way are we shifting? So come to London or join the live stream. You can find out way more about that at my website after this. Don't leave now at www.jpherman.com/events. And the live stream is going to be able to be viewed as a replay as well. So I do hope to see so many of you there. There are limited tickets for both. I believe there are something like 15 tickets left for the in-person event, and the live stream has a limitation of 50 spots. So do grab your tickets before the end of the week so that you can make sure to join us and have that transmission right there for you. So let me read through the rest of the questions here, and then we'll go into a trance. You guys will tune into yourself too. Remember that this energy is available to everybody. And you, if you tune into the same frequency, are going to get even more of the downloads from Vagrein and get even more of these questions answered. So another question for Shashank is, what is the true relationship between ET beings and humanity? Which civilizations helped us? Which tried to control us? And is there still cosmic agreements preventing direct intervention? Yes, there are still cosmic agreements. Steve says, looking forward to the London event. Yes, Steve, let's talk about that sometime today. I'm so excited you're coming. And Shashank also asks, thank you for all the questions, by the way. Many are feeling energetic shifts like tingling, fatigue, and emotional waves. What is happening to our DNA? DNA and light bodies, and how can we support this transformation, help understand it, help others understand it? Shashank, I love all these questions. I'm so excited for them. Hi, Kristen, and hi, yes, thank you. Hilly Billy, I am looking forward to diving into this right now as well. So I'm all organized. I think everything that's going to beep is turned off. I hope you guys are as well ready for this transmission. We'll see what Vagrein picked up from these questions and what they're going to run with. I never know exactly when I do it in this way because it's not direct interaction, but sort of delayed interaction. But they tend to be able to cover most things most of the time. And I will see you in the end. I don't know how long the session is going to go, but I'm going to let them run with it. And I'll see you, yes, shortly. Enjoy. Good now to you. We are pleased to be meeting with you again in this fashion and are eager to discuss with you what you have chosen to know more of yourself. We thank you for the questions that you have offered in this now moment. We have registered these queries and can see the interweaving, how they are all intertwined with one another. So we can address this particular topic as one whole and speak to it from the space of this query, which indeed is the official query of this now moment. It is not unusual. In fact, it is the most common and extremely usual scenario to be at the crossroads in each now moment. You are constantly in a state of shifting. That is the only constant in your human existence. There is not one single element of your human existence that is static, because of the fact that you have interwoven now moments into a tapestry of what you are perceiving of as linear time. So each and every now moment must be 100% different from the previous, even if for you, with your brains, the computers that you have, you are able to create stories in which they are connected, which is part of your adventure, part of the fun of being in this particular what you call reality of consciousness expressing itself. Please note that this is not the only form of reality. There are worlds that are not even worlds that do not function in this way. This is a unique experience to you, as well as an infinite experience to the all that is. But as we are speaking to you from this perspective, we will focus upon it and talk less about the infinite possibilities of all that is remaining outside of this one experience that you are holding. So, reality, humanity, this planet, your timeline. What is going on? Well, you have come to a peak of your desire that is unique to this now moment, that is wonderfully adventurous, that is a epic storyline that you are choosing, much like those books in which you choose your own adventure that this vessel quite enjoyed as a young person. And you come to each page, and at the end of each page, there's the question. And the question, based upon your own answer, asks you to turn to a different page of the book to continue reading. The only difference between these books and the storyline, and then the end of the page having the question, and the reality that you are in this now moment, is that the question at the end of every page is exactly the same. The question in its short format is, who do you want to be? And the long format is, who do you want to be in the face of this particular invitation? So you come to each moment, each crossroads, and bigger or smaller, there are that or is that question written at the bottom of the page. So in a small situation, it can be you open the fridge and you see within your fridge there is one apple and one pear. And the question is, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the one who eats the apple? Do you want to be the one that eats the pear? Do you want to be the one that closes the fridge? Do you want to be the one that goes out and buys a cake and eats the whole thing while sitting in an alleyway behind the shop in which you bought it and crying? Yes, comical, but also experiences that humans have had. And so that would be a small sort of choice. On the bigger scale, you are being offered and invited to larger topics. The larger topics are often collective in that you are seeing many great changes in the structuring of your civilization, in the structuring of your species. And the question is, in the face of, for example, economic collapse, who do you want to be? In the face of political unrest, who do you want to be? In the face of seeing suffering in other parts of the world, who do you want to be? In the face of the horizon of your extraterrestrial friends joining you, who do you want to be? And these questions can seem much bigger. They can seem like there are timelines shifting, that there is a split between those who are deciding to be in a higher vibration frequency and those who are deciding to fall more into human weaknesses. It is not really a weakness, they are skills that are simply not mastered, of fear or of protection or of separation. Who do you want to be in the face of this shift towards unity consciousness, or this offering of the potential shift towards unity consciousness? And we know that those with whom we speak do often have the answer of, I want to be in alignment. I want to be in my true nature as much as possible. I want to be in my higher self as much as possible. I want to be in service to others as much as possible. You are all gifted with the desire to raise humanity in its consciousness, to live joyful lives, to be in a state of bliss or in a state of understanding, comprehension, clarity. And this is not a coincidence. This did not happen by accident. This was part of the answer to the question, who do you want to be? Last week, last month, last year, when you were a child before you were born. At some point, you, whoever is listening to this, came up with the answer of who do I want to be, as I want to be a guide. I want to be a lighthouse. I want to be a support. I want to be a catalyst and a contributor to the transformation of what I see as not necessarily serving and not to my preference, to that which I see as serving and to my preference. So the question of, are you shifting? The answer is yes. You as a collective are shifting all the time. And yes, you as a collective are in some ways can seem as splitting off in two directions. But that is only because the direction in which you have split off in seems to have a splitting in two directions. The only reason why you are seeing lower frequency beings running all around and causing chaos is because you are choosing to use that image as the contrast to who you want to be ultimately. You are using the example of those who are not aligning with their higher selves as more fuel to the engine of what you are wanting for your own alignments. You have chosen a storyline in which you have a desire not to be a victim, but to be a hero of some sort, and in the space of service to others. If you did not choose that particular timeline or that particular storyline, you may be or would potentially be in a storyline in which everybody was aligned with the higher principles. You see, it is in some ways a paradox, because in your deep desire to have alignment, you must have the example of what is not aligned. You must be offered over and over the invitation to fall into your own disalignment, to fall into your own old patterns, to fall into your own old distortions. And by old, of course, this means nothing, because none of it has anything to do with you on the soul level, truly. It is all part of the story. So in this story, you have created a world that is not seeming to function. You have created a world on the apex of a new horizon. You have created a world in which there is suffering, so as for you to have something to do to alleviate either the suffering within yourself or others. And the actual solution to, we are giving you this solution, not because you actually want it, but because it simply is. The actual solution to alignment is to simply align. We are not saying you have to even. You did not come here truly to usher in a new reality. You did not come here truly to fix something that is broken. You came here for the adventure of seeming to desire to fix something that is broken. Once it is fixed, you will have no more fun. In fact, beyond your human experience, you already know there is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong. In the storyline you have also created other beings as an example to other levels of that alignment. So when we speak of non-terrestrial beings or non-human beings, because many of them are anyway on your planet, what we are speaking to is another manifestation of your own energy and storyline to stimulate you into other levels of yourself, other levels of reality. So, yes, there are species in the reality that you have created that are of a higher consciousness, that do deeply understand alignment, that do deeply understand free will, that have completely separate principles to you of how to interact with humanity. In this now moment, these beings are not able, yes, to have direct interaction with the majority of you. They do have with several of you. Those of you who have had encounters or experiences with extraterrestrials do know that that frequency is quite different than the human frequency. And in the storyline that you have created, it is indeed a aspect that these beings are orbiting your planet in many different ways, both physically and non-physically, watching, waiting, observing, protecting, influencing, and yes, even intervening at times with the storyline that you are experiencing. This, from the human level, can seem to be quite frightening because it does put you in a position of understanding the vulnerability of the status that you have as humans, your physical form that is quite fragile, that can in any moment be extinguished, of your consciousness that is limited, even your brain function, which is limited and slowed compared to its actual capabilities. And knowing that there are beings that have exceeded this, both on the physical and non-physical levels and on the consciousness levels, can feel like, well, we are quite under their influence. We are quite susceptible to their will. Good news is the majority of these species are living from a law or from a perspective that does not allow them to violate your free will. It is not even entirely acknowledged that this is an issue for which to intervene. In other words, it is not capable or is not possible to intervene with your free will because ultimately, in the way that things manifest, your free will trumps any intervention that can be made. In other words, if aliens were to land tomorrow and extinguish half of your planet's population, you do create movies like this. This is not something that we are coming up with. This is from your own consciousness. This is one of the fears that you have. Even that would have been your free will. We have spoken also of instances in which what seems to be your free will would be overridden. So, if humanity gets to a point, and they have done in the past in different societies, different civilizations, in which, and we've used this analogy before, you are playing with matches, at some point that matchbox will be taken away from you. Again, this may seem like an overriding of free will, but is it truly free will to be playing with matches? Do you actually have enough information as a child to know that you will light the house on fire? Is taking away the matchbox from the child a violation of free will, or is it a respecting of the free will of the child's desire for survival, the desire for them to have a home, the desire for them to be in a continuation of the survival of their physical vessel? No. Their free will, their desire, is to feel safe, is to be guided by the parent, is to be in a container in which their own inexperience is guided by something that does have slightly more experience, in this case, the parental figure, or that who would know that matches cause fire. So, when we speak of this ability to violate your free will by taking away your matchbox, we are actually not saying that your ultimate free will be violated, but simply those misunderstandings that you have about what you truly want will be corrected because you have a desire for them to be corrected. Nothing can occur that is not directly related to your ultimate desires, even your own demise or death or transition. So, there are those beings that are watching out for you. Yes, there are also those who are playing a slightly different game. Again, they are not violating your free will. There are species that are in their experiencing here to stimulate you into what you are wanting to be, into that hero's journey, into that storyline. They too are not directly yet manifest in your reality. This is, again, something that perhaps you will call in as you desire to call it in. You do know the stories of beings that are interested in using your fear, using your emotional energy. And guess what? Every time you are stepping into fear, you are consenting to that. Every time you are fearful, even of these beings, you are consenting to them using your fear for their benefit. Fear is a powerful emotion. It causes you quite insane reactions, and insane in the term of not healthy. There's not a single violent act that occurs on your planet that is not in some way motored by deep fear. Violence is the desire to violate the free will of another self. Of course, there is no way ultimately to, on the higher levels, violate that free will. But in playing with, on the human level, the violation of that free will by manipulation or violence itself, what you are doing is, again, consenting to the idea that you are in a reality in which free will does not trump all. We are often asked, we had a conversation with a being recently, well, what happens if I step into my full power and it turns out that I'm a violent being? It turns out that I delight in harming others. And this is not actually possible. Because to harm another, one must be moving from some level of fear, some level of thinking that that is the best possible option, even if it is solely for a sadistical hit of adrenaline or hit of dopamine. It is the fear of not having that dopamine or not having that adrenaline that is motoring you. A balanced being does not and would not have any reason to dive into violence. So, fear is one of those things that we would counsel to pay deep attention to. You can move past it. We know it is everywhere. We know it is in the big and the small things. It is not just someone chasing you down the street with an axe. In fact, it is most often not someone chasing you down the street with an axe that causes your fear. It is most often, will they love me? Do they love me? Am I safe in loving them? Guess what? You are only safe in loving them. Everything else is at your peril. The only place you are safe is in love. And everything else is distortion. Now, as you know, we have spoken many times before. We do not judge you for this distortion. You did not come here to be perfectly aligned. You came here for the journey of playing in the mud, messing around with the clay, building your sandcastles and tearing them down. And we've noticed that the more you understand this and accept that there's perfection in the imperfection, the more you begin to enjoy your human experience. The less reactive you are, the more responsive you are. As you understand that there's nothing to fix, and yet you are here to have the journey of sifting, sorting preferences, feeling, the more you enjoy it. And the more you are in joy in it, the more you can love, the more you can laugh, the more you are in on the cosmic joke and not the butt of it. When you understand that your unique personal journey is the most magnificent manifestation that there could ever be, you have the cheat code to create more of what you are wanting through your focus. And guess what? What you are wanting is often not what you are wanting. What you are wanting is very often more growth. So the question of can you manifest more through focus is yes, indeed you can. But more what? More what? Your ideas of what you are wanting are not very often what you are actually wanting. When you say, I want abundance, I want to live in a mansion, I want to have luxury holidays, that is not actually what you are wanting. Of course, that is delightful, and we are not saying you cannot have that. But there are deeper levels of that desire. One is, I want those things because if I have those things, I will have the security of knowing I am safe. If I have enough money, I can protect myself from some boogeyman that I think that money can resolve. If I have those things, I will feel worthy, finally, because in the ways that they have come to me, I will know that the universe has accepted me and has gifted me and has rewarded me for my efforts. I will know I'm good. If I have those things, people would admire me. People would look up to me. I will feel like I am important. I will feel like I have a purpose. All of these desires that you have assigned to your luxury holiday or your mansion are still on their way to you in magnificent ways. But guess what? The universe does not want you to have an easy time because you do not want to have an easy time. So when you say you want safety and money is what is going to afford that to you, the universe goes, nah, no, you are already safe. You are already eternal. And if you continue to believe that your financial abundance is what causes your safety, then that belief is not serving you because that abundance comes and goes. It is a flow. It does not matter. Your safety is constant, consistent. So, friend of ours, this is the universe speaking, you will be given opportunities to prove to yourself that you are safe regardless of your abundance. Now, have you noticed that very wealthy people do not worry much about money? They spend it easily, they invest it easily, they risk it easily for new investments. Why is it that they are having such a good time playing the game of messing around with wealth, creating things, destroying things? It is because they're not learning the same lesson as you might be if you equate abundance with safety. A much more holistic desire for abundance is I want the mansion because I like pretty things outside of an idea of safety. The same goes for relationships, for health, for service to others. So the next time you have something that is not manifesting in your life that you're wanting to focus on, have a little think of what you believe that manifestation is really providing for you. If it is neutral, if it is simply, I like that mansion because I like that mansion, then it will appear. If, however, there is something else going on, then the universe is trying very hard to give you that thing in an unconditional way. There are so many examples of this, and you know this from your intimate relationships as well. Isn't it always the case that when you want someone to tell you how wonderful you are, to tell you they love you, that same someone seems to have quite a lot of trouble in doing so? And then you think to yourself, well, their heart is closed. Well, they are this. Well, they are that. Well, they are this. Well, they are that. Why can't they just be more loving? Why can't they just be more present? Why can't they just be the one who tells me I am worthy? Well, they can't because they do love you. And it would be a violation of that love to take over a role that you so desperately want to hold for yourself. So, manifesting, yes, is possible through focus. We will always suggest focusing on your desires, not because they are going to come to pass, but because your desires are literally signposts pointing you in the direction of more of your growth. As soon as you are trying to manifest wealth or relationship or love in your life, you will be shown along that path every single distortion you have that has been preventing you from that your entire life. Your desire is leading you down the path of removing the beliefs that do not serve you and replacing them with the holistic experience of your preferences. So you are shifting timelines, you are shifting ways of thinking about your experience, you are shifting into this potential reality of direct contact with these species that will show you more of yourself if you so choose. And by the way, there are those of you that can have direct contact right now. That portal is open enough for you. So intention can lead you to that as well. But you are also experiencing this journey moment to moment with far more stress than you need, we would suggest enjoying it. We would suggest diving into it, taking a step back and diving in at the same time. Observe your life, observe this journey, observe the desires, observe the preferences, observe the distortions, observe the limiting beliefs, and have fun with it. There's nothing serious. There's nothing urgent. There's nothing to fear. And when you are, as our vessel said earlier, in a space of feeling reactive, know that that is simply old patterning. There's no need to react to anything. Not when you know yourself to be safe, not when you know yourself to be love. And this practice of knowing yourself to be safe, knowing yourself to be love, will carry you in much of the rest of this discourse. Will carry you through everything that is coming up for you, all of the challenges or the invitations. You do not know quite how close you are to huge change on your planet. We do notice this question come over and over. And yet, we speak to you on an individual basis, and you are still very much involved in your own individual stories. Know that you are a puzzle piece on the grander story, that your individual story is a mirror to the transformation that is occurring for all of you as a collective. And allow yourself to be on that bridge between the both. We do hope to interact with you again, more personally soon. And we leave you with the light and the love of 1,000 suns. Anai. Hi, guys. So I'm always like a little stressed in transmissions that are live like this because I never know if the internet's going to hold or if this is going out into the void and not being recorded or anything like that. But it looks like that did record and that you're still here. So I'm very glad for that. I'm just looking through the comments. What time is it there? It's 6:13 here. It is now 10:46 in the morning. Tegan says, hey, Tegan. Vagrein, another query. If you see this, why do different channelers give varying responses to one's choice or incarnate, possibly incarnate by source if we choose not to? Ooh. Oh, okay. Good question, Lori. Why do different channelers give varying responses as to one choice to incarnate or perhaps be incarnated by source if we choose not to? I don't know. In Seeking Ends When Sharing Begins, the white book, which you can't see, it's over here. Which is now on Audible. There is actually a chapter called Why Do Sources of Wisdom Contradict? Whoop. Okay, that explains a little bit any of the questions related to why different channeling sources have different answers for things. I personally believe that you cannot be forced to incarnate. I don't believe in anything outside of free will and this journey being as magnificent as it is. I do know that other sources talk about how we're in this karmic wheel and we have to get off of it and get out of it. That's never really resonated for me. I suspect that we are always being offered different perspectives so that we can figure out what resonates for us. So if it does resonate for you that you've been incarnated against your will, although I don't know how that could be, then go ahead and believe that. But for me, it's not at all something that feels relevant to my experience. And in this book, you might find a little bit of an answer as to the question as to why different sources say different things. So go ahead and have a look at that if you're interested. Shashank also asked, is it true that some souls after death have the choice to return to a different timeline where they didn't die? Can this be done consciously? Sure. Everything is possible. So, we're in multiple timelines in this now moment at all times. But the question isn't, is something possible? The question is, what is I? So the I am is the real big question. And you can place your perspective of who you are or what you are into all kinds of different areas. I don't believe that if you did decide to reincarnate, you would be you. So I also believe that currently, there are infinite versions of me that have passed on in different moments in my life, and infinite versions that will continue to live forever. I believe in you guys ever heard of was it quantum immortality? That's a really interesting concept if you ever want to dive into it, and it is the theory that you actually never die because you've never had experience of death, therefore death is a concept, not a reality, etc., etc. I don't know much about it, but it's really fascinating, and it kind of is one of these philosophies that can really bust your thinking open. Okay, shift happens. Love that. Hillbilly. This is so cool. Thanks. Awesome. Time to finally pause the live and turn off the light. Okay. Good night, Tamara. Hopefully you get to hopefully you get to watch the replay. Oh gosh. Okay. Wonderful transmission. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Ale. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Rondita. Kristen, love you. Jessie and Vagrein, thank you so much. Confirm everything I know and have my mind. See you in 2 weeks in London. Yes! Guys, join me in London. I can't wait to see you guys. Last time, I was just talking about it yesterday. Last time we went for drinks afterwards, and then we went to a comedy show. I don't know if I'm going to be able to organize something like that because I will have my kids, but hey, you'll get to meet my kids, and they're pretty cool. Maybe. We'll see. So looking forward to seeing you guys in London. That is August the 2nd. I believe it starts at 12:30 p.m. It's just off Fleet Street. Great location this time. Lots of fun. Very big green, well, not very big, intimate green room with like bleachers. It's an interesting venue. And I'm so excited to see you guys in person. I really love the energy you guys give me. I really appreciate the energy you guys give me. And I'm so excited for anyone who can join us. I hope it's many of you. I believe there are something like 15 tickets left, so go ahead and check that out. And there is that live stream. So I'm hoping also that many of you who can't be there in person will join the live stream because these in-person events tend to be extremely powerful. I know some of you here on this live right now have been at the in-person events, so you can testament to that. And let everybody else know how awesome those live events are, because the energy really does play back and forth at the live events, that it doesn't kind of transfer in the same way on these online dillies. And as always, do leave comments. If you're watching this as a replay, do leave comments of your questions. Basically on every YouTube channel, I read all the comments. If you have a question for Vagrein, pop it in the comments of any video and it's going to get absorbed. And I might do a whole video on it and I might answer that question. And it might resolve something that hasn't been resolved before. But I'm going to go back and watch this at some point because I felt like it was really pertinent. I think that they said a lot of stuff that I haven't heard before. I just feel that in me. And I'm so excited to, again, see you guys in London, August 2nd. Go over to www.jpherman.com/events. Like, subscribe, all the stuff that I meant to say at the end of YouTube videos. And I love you guys. I'll see you again soon. Have an amazing day or night. Bye-bye. How do you turn this off? Okay, bye-bye.